Hey everyone, and welcome to our early comics preview show. My name is Matt. Andy is a little bit under the weather today, so he is resting up, and I'm going to be flying solo. But we still wanted to do a video for you because this is a huge week of books, some really, really cool stuff. So I'm going to show you probably about 15 or 20 books or so, and there's still plenty more books other than those coming out this week. And to see them all, you can visit infinityflux.net. All of these books that I'm going to show you are on the website right now, available to order. So go to infinityflux.net, follow along as I go through these, because like I said, there is some really, really awesome stuff this week. I'm really excited because this is DC All-In Week. The start of the new DC All-In era starts on Wednesday, and it all starts with this first book, which is the DC All-In Special. This is a one-shot. Like I said, everything starts right here. And this is a flip book too. I can show you real quick. So you have one story here, and then you have another story here, and they meet in the middle. So this is written by Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson. The art is by Daniel Sampere and Wes Craig. And yeah, so you have one story on one side, and this is a story that's centered around Superman. It is very bright and hopeful. It shows you how the new Justice League is formed. It shows you the debut of the Justice League satellite, which we will be seeing more of in the upcoming Justice League Unlimited book coming out in November. So everything is roses basically for the DC universe right now, because we're getting a huge multi-member Justice League. But things do not stay great for long as Darkseid attacks. And I don't want to tell you too much more about that, but if you then flip the book over, you get to read the story that's centered around Darkseid. He has built a machine that grants him one wish, and that wish is to be bonded with the Spectre so that he can find out what is this surge of energy that he just felt. I won't tell you what it is. It does have something to do with the multiverse. But through the course of this story, we see how he winds up fighting off against the Justice League in this story, and these two stories meet in the middle. So it's not like you read from one cover to the other. This story ends in the middle of the book. You flip it around, you read this story, it ends in the middle of the book, but both stories end at the same place. It is really cool. It is really, really well done. So, this is the start of the new all, sorry, this is the start of the new all in era. You do not need to have read anything before you read this. This is, I like the way Scott Snyder put this. This is an invitation to pick up a DC comic, or just to come into the comic shop and pick up anything. All of the books that are starting in October, and I've got four to show you a little bit later. They are all starting with new story arcs, right? Nothing is getting rebooted, nothing is getting renumbered, no continuity is being reset at all. But everything is starting with a new story arc. So if you want to jump on DC, you can pick up this, and then you can pick up whichever other books you want. Do you want Batman? Do you want Superman? Green Arrow? And you will be starting at part one of whatever story that they're going to be telling over the course of the next few months. This book is awesome. The artwork is great. The establishment of the new status quo. Like I said, the way the things meet in the middle, it's really cool. Yeah, so I highly recommend this. I am so extremely excited for everything that DC is about to give us. They have been giving us some of the best books on the stands for the last couple of years. They are about to crank it up to 11. So yeah, very, very cool. And like I said, it all starts right here. So that's our A cover right there. This is the Superman side, and like I showed you, this we've got the Darkseid story over there as well. Oh, and I should have mentioned this side, this story right here shows how the new Absolute Universe is formed, and this is our first appearance of Absolute Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. They each only get one splash page each, but we do see where the heck does all this come from. It all gets explained right here, and it's awesome. So, yes, our A cover right here. I'll put this back in, and we've got some very cool variants for this. We've also got this Wes Craig variant. He does the artwork for the Darkseid story, and this is also a flip cover right there. So you get your absolute Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman on there as well. We also have this really cool Rafa Sandoval variant, and this is also a flip cover. So that's got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then flip it over, and Darkseid is attacking. So very cool flip book there. And then, oh, we have this really nice foil variant. This is the same as the A cover. It's still a flip book, but it's done in foil. We have the nice DC Bullet logo foil cover. I'm so excited that the Bullet logo is back. I love this. This takes me back to my childhood. So yeah, if you just like the DC Bullet logo, you can pick that up in foil. And we have this really nice 1 in 25 Zhang variant that we're selling for $19.99 with Darkseid. That looks super cool. So that is the start of this next new era of DC Comics. However, there is still one other thing that's left out there, and that is Absolute Power. Absolute Power number 4 comes out on Wednesday, and this is the end of the Absolute Power storyline. Of course, written by Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora. It's the final issue, so I can't really say too much without spoiling everything. I will tell you that the heroes take the fight directly to Amanda Waller. They have a plan to take her out, along with her Amazos and the multiversal gate that she built. I thought it was a very clever resolution, some amazing stories set up for the future, and they plant the seeds for a couple of mysteries as well. So, if you get both Absolute Power number 4 and the All In Special, please read the Absolute Power finale first and then read this. However, if you haven't been reading Absolute Power, and if you don't get this, you can still get this. You do not need to have read Absolute Power to read this. They do mention, there is one mention in here of something that happened in this. It's nothing that breaks the story if you haven't read it. So just, just giving you options about, whichever books you're going to get. If you get Absolute Power, definitely read it first, finish up that storyline, and then jump into All In. And again, if you didn't get this, no worries. You can definitely get this. This is designed for new readers to come in and jump on DC while still keeping legacy for long-time readers. It's the best of both worlds. We're getting our cake and eating it too. DC has done a phenomenal job with all of this stuff. So, yeah, Absolute Power wraps up this week. So there is our A cover right there, and we got some cool variants for this too, as we have with all of the series. We have this really nice Simone Bianchi variant. This is our this is our Gilliam March variant with Flash and Velocity right here. That's really cool. We've got our Stephen Bliss variant, and we have this very awesome Yasmin Putri foil variant with that looks like Jade Stone, the quote unquote Green Lantern Amazo. So yeah, very cool there. Awesome stuff for DC, and we've got more coming up later. But we are going to shift gears, and we're going to talk about Marvel because Marvel's got some big books too. Marvel has Storm number 1 coming out this week. This is our next From the Ashes era X-Men book. This is written by Marewa Ayodele and the artist by Lucas Wernick. Now, most of this issue is a flashback to a recent disaster that happened in Oklahoma City. There's a reactor in a nuclear power plant there that uses extraterrestrial technology to power it. But that reactor melted down, which caused just a whole bunch of damage to the nearby towns. Storm showed up and helped as much as she could. But in her efforts to shut down the reactor, she learned that it actually wasn't a malfunction with the reactor at all. Rather, it was a mutant whose powers had just manifested and they couldn't control them. But this information was never made public, and so Storm was applauded for her for all of her help taking care of it, while the workers at the plant or the families of the workers at the plant, because there were some deaths. Some of the workers there were killed, but some of their families were threatened because everybody thinks threatened by the public because everybody thinks that their family members who worked at the plant caused this devastation. So then we fast forward to present day, and Storm is making a speech unveiling her new home in the sky called the Storm Sanctuary. But she's really wrestling with whether or not to tell the truth because, like I said, the public thinks that it was just a reactor meltdown, and they're mad at everybody who works there. Storm knows that actually it was a mutant who just couldn't control their powers, so she doesn't know whether she should reveal that information to the public or not. You do see her decision in this, but she's wrestling with that because if she does reveal the truth, it's going to strain mutant human relations. But if she doesn't tell the truth, then the reputation of the engineers who passed away and also their families, it's going to be tarnished, right? And they're going to keep getting threats and things like that. So on top of all of that, Storm, there's something else going on with Storm that she hasn't told anybody else about. And on top of that, there is something that happens on the last page that makes it look like things are going to get even crazier for her. It kind of came out of left field. I wasn't expecting it. So lots of stuff going on with Storm right now. But this was very, very cool. I really liked the dilemma that she faced in this. Do I tell the truth and hurt mutants, or do I keep it inside and damage the reputation of these engineers? Plus, with what we see on the last page or two, I'm really, really curious to see where this book's going to go because I don't really like, it didn't. It's not that it didn't make sense. It's just like, whoa, what does that mean? So that's going to be at least part of the story going forward. So a really cool solo Storm book. I really like this quite a bit. I definitely want to see what happens next. So we have our A cover right there. We have our Wernick variant. That's your interior artist right there. We've got our Doom variant by Marco Cicchetto. Let me move my hand there. There you go. We have this really, really awesome Jerome Opeña foil variant. And this is a spot foil. So all the lightning is foil. The rest of it's just like a regular matte finish. But look, you can see all the logo and the lightning is foil. That is really cool. This one looks really, really sharp. Even better in person. We've got this Lee variant. And then we have a couple of incentives. We have a 1 in 25 Lozano variant that we're selling for $19.99. And then we have a 1 in 50 Jones variant that we're selling for $39.99. Yeah, this was really, really cool. And that, like I said, that last page, that's a head scratcher. That's all. Where is this going? All right, so next up we have one from Image. This is Hyde Street #1. I actually read this about 3 weeks ago or so, and it was really cool, but it was even better reading the official final version in print. So this is your next book in the Ghost Machine imprint over at Image, written by Jeff Johns, art by Ivan Rice. Now, this is a supernatural slash horror book, but it's not an anthology one. We have a whole bunch of horror anthology books out right now, and I love those books. You get a couple creepy stories every month. It's great. But this is one singular ongoing supernatural horror story. And it's centered around Hyde Street, which is kind of this mysterious, otherworldly place that seemingly exists everywhere. And the idea is that everybody is just one wrong turn away from winding up there. You make the wrong turn down an alley. If you've got something weighing on your heart, you might find yourself on Hyde Street. Well, on Hyde Street, there's a bunch of different characters. In this one, we meet two of them. We meet Mr. X-Ray, and we meet Pranky, the world's most dangerous scout. And they seem to be well, before I say that, they used to be regular people too, because in this issue, most of this issue is us learning about Mr. X-Ray, who he was before he wound up on Hyde Street. So they used to be regular people, but now there's something else, and I don't know that they're not demons, but they're not ghosts, but they're otherworldly. I don't really know how else to explain it, but they seem to be in some kind of competition to see who can deliver the most souls to this mysterious something or someone called the scorekeeper. We don't know who that is yet. We don't know why they're doing this, but I have a feeling that maybe the winner will be allowed to leave Hyde Street, which is what Mr. X-Ray wants to do anyway. Like I said, a lot of this issue was just learning who Mr. X-Ray was when he was just a regular person. Um, but the beginning of this issue gives us an example of the twisted ways in which they deliver these souls to the scorekeeper. And it's really, I mean, it's pretty gruesome. It involves Pranky, the world's most dangerous scout, and we're going to learn more about him in the next issue. And we do see the names of other characters that we are going to meet along the way, but they're not in this one just yet. But this book is really great. If you love horror books or supernatural books or spooky books, you're definitely going to enjoy this. Um, and this is cool because most horror books, most of the ongoing ones, they're centered around like a heroic protagonist that has to kind of fight against the monsters or the spirits or the demons or whatever it is. But this actually centers around the quote unquote bad guys, the people actually taking the souls from these other people. So it's really cool to see it from that perspective. And I just really want to meet more of these characters because these characters in this, they're not just like faceless slashers, like they have personalities. They're fully fleshed out characters. And we're gonna meet more of them throughout the course of the series. So highly recommended if you enjoy spooky books, horror books, especially we're in spooky season right now, right? So this would be a great book to pick up during October and beyond. So we have our A cover right here, and we have this Gary Frank variant featuring Mr. X-Ray, and there is a little bit to do with this in there as well. And we have this 1 in 25. I don't have the artist on. Oh, Kelly. Oh my gosh, Kelly Jones. I should have recognized Kelly Jones variant that we're selling for $12.99, and that is Pranky. And then the guy behind him is Mr. X-Ray right there. So very very cool. I love this book. I highly highly recommend it. Now this next one is a book that I actually did not read. This is Star Wars: The Battle of Jakku, Insurgency Rising #1. So you guys know Andy is our resident Star Wars expert. I couldn't even imagine knowing as much about it, Star Wars, everything as he does, and he reads all of our Star Wars books. So I actually didn't read this one, but he sent me his notes. So I'm just going to read these to you. He says that this book starts just hours after the destruction of the second Death Star, so in Return of the Jedi, and the death of Vader and the Emperor. So this is just right after the end of Return of the Jedi is when the events of this book takes place. He says that a pilot survives a run-in with some remaining Imperials stationed on another planet, and she makes her way to Endor, where she warns the rebellion there because they're still there. She warns them that there is a ruthless commander telling his men that the news of the fall of the Empire is false, and that now is the time to strike. So it sounds like there's some members of the Empire saying that, hey, the Death Star blowing up, that's fake news, right? You don't want to believe that. We need to go after the rebellion. And he says it's really interesting. And he says that there is a backup story about the villain in here. He says it's not a new character, but possibly the first time in a comic. So, we know that Star Wars and Darth Vader, they just wrapped up with issue number 50. And there are 2 or 3 different miniseries coming, this Battle of Jakku miniseries, that will then lead us into a new era of Star Wars books of maybe um, stories not centered around the movies or not taking place between the movies. I know Andy was really excited about that because we're about to be in uncharted waters, I guess. So yeah, just want to let you know about the new Star Wars book. So that's our A cover right there, and then we have this Rod Rice variant, and then we have this 1 in 25. I don't have the artist on this one either, but this is the 1 in 25 variant that we're selling for $34.99, and that is your Rebel pilot that Andy referenced. So yeah, very cool Star Wars stuff, and there's a lot more. I know that there's a lot more stuff coming for sure. All right, so next up, we're going back to DC because this is another great book for this time of year. This is DC Horror Presents Creature Commandos #1. This is written by David Dasmalchian, who's been writing a lot of stuff lately. He played Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad movie. He's been in a bunch of stuff. And the art is by Jesus Hervas. Now, this is actually more closely related to the original Creature Commandos than it is the upcoming animated series. But reading this made me really excited for the animated series coming up in December. But those characters in that series aren't really in this. This is the original crew. So in this one, the U.S. government gets word that a foreign adversary is building a dangerous weapon, but that weapon is too volatile for airstrike, so they can't just come in and bomb it. And there's too much security around it that if a bunch of soldiers went in to try to stop it, it would cause too many human casualties. So they determined that they need to utilize Project M, which is a team of inhuman monsters, to go out and stop this thing. So they recruit Lucky, who is basically Frankenstein's monster right here. They recruit Vincent Velcro, who is a vampire. They reach out to Wanda Griffith, who is a werewolf, and then Mina Rhodes, who she kind of looks like Medusa, her right there. And I think she has psychic powers too. So anybody who's read the old school Creature Commandos, you can maybe chime in the comments to let us know exactly what's up with her. Now, this is mostly a putting the team together issue. We don't really see too much of the main plot of this foreign adversary and the weapons they're building. We don't see a whole lot of that yet. We instead see the team coming together. As they reach out to each character, we see these little vignettes kind of putting these characters' powers on display, that kind of thing. We start to learn about them. But it works really well because by the time we're at the end of the issue, I feel like I know these characters and they're about to head out to take on this big mission. I really like the artwork of this. I thought the artwork was really cool. It's a little bit scratchier, but it works perfectly for these characters and the tone of this book. And plus, I'm just really looking forward to seeing these guys work together out in the field. And there's something very interesting on the final page that I definitely want to see play out. So, no idea where that's going, but I was completely surprised. I had no idea. Like, I would have guessed that final page. So, really, really fun. Perfect for a spooky season, and also very timely because, like I said, the animated series is coming out in December. Some of the characters are different, but it's still the same tone and the same feel, right? So it's very, very cool. So we have our A cover right there, and we have some cool variants for this one too. This is our Charlie Adlard cover right there. Charlie Adlard of Walking Dead fame. We also have this very cool Jim Lee cover. Holy cow, look at that. That's very, very awesome. And then we also have this same Jim Lee cover. But the Virgin variant, wait a minute, this is the black and white variant, 1 in 25 that we're selling for $24.99. Very, very cool. I like that book a lot. It was a lot of fun. And again, DC is really doing some great stuff right now. They're giving us some great superhero books, but they're also giving us like a little bit of horror. We know that we're getting the DC Horror Presents horror anthology book. We talked about that last Friday. So DC is really treating us to some great superhero books, some great horror books. We're getting some awesome collected editions, all kinds of stuff. So good job, DC. I know you're watching this for sure. All right, we've got a new one from Magma Comics that I really liked. Another one perfect for this time of the year. This is Night of the Slashers #1. This is written by Kevin Scott and the art is by Paul Fry. This book actually reminds me a little bit of Jeepers Creepers 2, in the fact that there's a bus full of high school kids and they get stranded. Their bus gets a flat tire and they get stranded in this really small town called Hill Creek. But there's no one around to fix their tire for a day or two, so they're going to have to hole up in the local hotel for a night. So they make their way to the hotel, but they notice that as they're getting off the bus and they're going to the hotel, everybody around them is kind of looking at them a little bit weird, and they notice that everybody in the town is boarding up all the doors and the windows of the local businesses. Well, later that night in the hotel, three of the kids they hear a scream, and they discover that the old lady who runs the hotel, she's been locked in a cage. So they let her out, obviously, but then she turns into a horrifying monster and starts to attack them. And we know from that's not really a spoiler because we know from the solicitations the whole plot of this series is that in this small town, on one night per year, everybody in the town turns into these monsters. So now these kids are in a town full of monsters because it just happens to be the one night of the year that everybody turns into monsters. So we don't know why, though. We don't know why that happens, and I think that's going to be a pretty cool mystery to learn over the course of this series. So I really like this too. Magma Comics has been putting out some really great stuff lately. So another perfectly spooky book for spooky season. So there's our A cover right there. And we got, I believe we have one variant. Oh, this is really cool. This variant's cool. It's the hack variant, but it looks like a VHS, VHS coming out of its case. So I really like that one a lot. And then we have another indie book. This is from Oni. This is called Skin Police. This is written by Jordan Thomas and the art is by Danielle Getty. And this is actually set in the year 2176. So whereas the last book was horror, now we're on a sci-fi book here. Now, so like I said, set in 2176, but about 30 years prior, there was a fertility pandemic around the world, which opened up a thriving black market for clone babies because not really too many people can't really have babies anymore. So these babies are cloned from the DNA and the tissue of the parents that want them. Well, these clones are called dupes, and they're undetectable. You can't really tell who's a clone and who's not. However, 3 out of 4 of these dupes eventually go crazy and become homicidal maniacs and kill people. So that's great, right? However, some people don't even know that they're dupes. So like I said, they're undetectable. So people, a clone baby is created and they grow up and they have no idea. So there's people out there who don't know that they're dupes or they're clones, and so they go crazy anyway when they think that they're experiencing symptoms of going crazy, right? Like it's like a what's psychosomatic symptoms, right? So some people who aren't clones at all still think they are because it's like, oh, I've had a headache for 3 days. That must be a symptom, and I'm gonna be a clone, and I'm gonna end up killing somebody, and they might do something bad, right? So this book, so that's the overall premise of the story. But this book follows a guy named Brisson Eckes. He is the lead agent for the DIC, which is the Duplicate Identification and Capture Division. I think they call them the Skin Police, right? That's like their name because the purpose of that task force is to track down the dupes and dispose of them. And it's pretty gruesome the way they describe it. So this is mostly a setup issue, just kind of introducing us to the world, to the concept of the dupes, and to the DIC. But there is a mystery surrounding the disposal of the dupes, because like I said, they talked about it, and it was a little creepy. And there's also an underground resistance resisting the DIC, and we're going to learn more about that over the course of the series. So just a cool new sci-fi book, which is, I mean, it's not like really like gory like a horror book is, but it's it's unsettling. The idea of some of this stuff is unsettling, but it's really good too. So there's our A cover right there, and we have this Patara variant as well. And I'm going to take a sip of water real quick, and then we're going to jump back into DC because, like I said, we've got some of the first all-in books. All right. So first up is Batman number 153. Now I want to point out that this is the start of a brand new story arc. This is the first issue of Batman in the all-in era, and you'll see that all of the A covers have the same kind of trade dress, where it's all white in the background. We have a really cool picture of our character, and then you see the all-in branding, and then the classic Bullet logo is back. So all of the covers look like this. So if you walk into your shop and you want to jump on some new DC books, but you're not really sure which ones are the start of these new story arcs, just look for this type of cover, white with the all-in branding, the Bullet logo, and they're very easy to spot. So Batman number 153. This is still written by Chip Zdarsky. The art is by Jorge Jimenez. So you still got your dream team on there. But again, this is the start of a brand new story arc. This is part one of a story called The Dying City. Now, crime is actually down in Gotham City, thanks in part to Wayne Enterprises revitalizing old Gotham. Batman and Commissioner Gordon, or not Commissioner Gordon anymore, but Batman and Gordon are on a roof, on a top of a building, and there's actually no crime going on right now, so it's pretty nice. On top of that, Edward Nigma also appears to have put his life of crime behind him, and he's now the head of a successful new technology security company. But Batman, being Batman, doesn't really trust him. This issue is also the first appearance of a new character named Commander Star. He appears to be a hero. It kind of looks like if Batman mixed with Captain America, but not like the amalgam stuff. Like it's he's got a big cape and a cowl, but it's all red, white, and blue, and stars and stripes and all this stuff. So he appears to be a hero, but he's a little bit sus, as the young people say. So more to learn about him. And so there's also a well, I don't want to say. There's also something pretty serious that happens near the end. So we seemingly have like two or three different plot lines going on. I'm sure they're all going to converge at some point. We'll just have to keep reading to see how that all goes. But I'm already invested. I've been loving Chip Zdarsky's run on Batman. Jorge Jimenez's art is awesome. And like I said, the start of a brand new story arc. You can part of the all-in the pathos is that you can jump into this if you've never read Batman, or you're wanting to jump onto Batman, or you're just wanting to read some DC books. You can pick this up without having to have any prior knowledge. It does reference a few things. You might not know who a couple of the characters are, but you're not jumping in at part 3 or 4 of a story. This is part 1 of a brand new story arc. And I think it's gonna be great. So yeah, perfect jumping on point for Batman. So we've got our A cover right here. And we got some cool variants. This is the Trick or Treat variant. We've got a few more of these coming up. We've got the okay, so the all in books also have this type of cover, which looks really cool. They're all done by Daniel Sampere, and it's just a nice solo image of the character in the book with foil. I mean, you can see like it's almost like a mirror, right? You can see yourselves right there, which is pretty cool. So these look really great. It's like a silver foil, really well done. And then we have this 1 in 25 Marco variant that we're selling for 14.99. And we have this 1 in 50 Walter variant. Sorry, I was just looking at that we're selling for 24.99. Never seen Batman quite look like that before. That's really cool. So we're gonna keep going with these all-in books because there are three more, and I thought I would just clump them all together to give you guys an idea about what what are some of these new DC books coming out this month. We're gonna have several of these every week throughout the month of October, so we will definitely be talking about them all. But next, we're going to talk about Birds of Prey number 14. Kelly Thompson is still the writer for this book, and Sammy Basri is the artist. This is the first issue again. This has the same type of white background, all in branding, classic bullet logo. So this is the first issue of Birds of Prey in the all in era and part one of a new story arc called Bird Undercover. So in this one, Cassandra Cain goes undercover at the Ninth Day Corporation, which is a company that mostly sells wellness products. But the Birds of Prey think that they are holding 5 Amazons there and using their they refer to it as unique properties to make these products. I don't know if they're using their blood or skin cells or what. I'm not sure, but they're using these Amazons to make these beauty products. But a large part of this issue is actually Grace, who is right here, and Onyx training against Barda, which is a lot of fun. So that's a big part of it. But it doesn't really seem like it contributes to the larger part of the story too much. But there definitely is more story to tell because they've got to find the Amazons and there's a couple mysteries there. But again, a really good jumping on point if you're looking to start Birds of Prey. I'm actually I think I'm a whole story arc behind on Birds of Prey, and I was still able to read this because they do give you enough information to understand what's going on, and then you can fill in the blanks later. So yeah, another great starting point for Birds of Prey right there. So that is our A cover, and we have this really cool Sozomika variant with Barbara Gordon Batgirl. We've got our this is a Serge Acuna variant. I really like that one. This is our Trick or Treat variant. And then, of course, just like the Batman book, we have our Daniel Sampere Black Canary foil variant that looks like a mirror. You can see the reflection of our computer and our camera and stuff. So yeah, very nice foil variant cover. And then we have this really nice 1 in 25 Ryan Gonzalez variant with Black Canary. Very cool, very colorful. We're selling that one for $19.99. That one looks very sweet. Like I feel like if I licked it, it would taste sweet. I'm not gonna lick it though. Don't worry. Whoever's gonna buy that, I'm not gonna lick it. All right, so next up is Poison Ivy. Let me get all the variants out here. Next up is Poison Ivy number 26. This is written by G. Willow Wilson. The artist by Marcio Takara. So, that's been your team for a while. Again, part one of a new story arc in Poison Ivy. Same trade dress and everything. So there's actually two different stories happening in this book. There's an eco-terrorist group called the Order of the Green Knight. They keep bombing places around Gotham. And Ivy's friend Janet, Janet from HR, she was in a grocery store when they decided to bomb it. And now she thinks that these eco-terrorists are out to get her because she lived. The other story in this is that Ivy discovers a town in the swamp that's just outside of Gotham, and but it's deserted. There's nothing there at all, and she thinks the town was underwater until recently. Like I said, it's deserted, but it does seem like there was something there at one point, or some kind of presence, or something, or someone was there because she sees some writing on the walls, and she sees a couple of like images that makes her think that something's going on there. So, and it might still be there too. So, just a new story for Poison Ivy. This started as a 6-issue miniseries, and now we're on issue 26. That is remarkable. So, there's a lot of fans of this. I thought this was really cool. I haven't read this in a little while, but again, I understood what was going on because it's a brand new jumping on point, and they've been doing a great job at starting these new stories that you can come in on fresh and clean. So there's our A cover right there, and we have our this Jenny Frizen cover. I should recognize that one. This is our Nubovich variant. This is our Trick or Treat variant. And then, of course, we have our Daniel Sampere foil variant. And then we have this 1 in 25 Sebastian Fiormara variant that we're selling for $16.99. We've got one more of these new DC All In books, and that is Shazam, number 16, written by Josie Campbell and the artist by Dan McDade. And in this one, the Shazam kids take a trip to the city because there's a giant robot rampaging through the city. And it should be an easy task for the combined mights of Billy and Freddy and Mary. But there's something a bit off with Freddy, and he and Billy end up squabbling half the time. So they're really distracted. But there's an even bigger mystery: who or what is controlling the giant robot in the first place? We do see who it is at the very end, and I was giddy because it feels right, right? So a great issue of Shazam again. Jumping on point. If you've been wanting to read some Shazam, definitely jump on right here. You will definitely be able to do that. So there's our A cover right there. And the only variant we have for this one is the Daniel Sampere foil variant. And that, how awesome does that look? The captain. I love that they call him the captain. All right, we are going to flip back to Marvel because we have Deadpool number 7 right here. Guys, I've said before, I've never been the biggest fan of Deadpool in the comics. However, I have been loving this series. It's so good and fun. And this is another funny issue, but it's not funny as in it's all slapstick. Like, it's just some good, funny dialogue to go with the really awesome art, the awesome action. And in this one, Ellie and Princess, they break into a biochem lab to steal their financial records so that they can use that financial data to funnel that money into their own business because they want to get revenge on Death Grip for supposedly killing Deadpool. But I don't know if that really happened or not. I don't know if he's really dead. I mean, it's comics, so he's he's going to come back. But they want to get revenge on Death Grip, but they need money and resources to be able to go after him. So they're going to steal money from this biochem lab, which is actually a front for something else. And they uh, Ellie and Princess, they have to fight their way through a bunch of robot office workers. This was really funny. So they go through this office building. There's a bunch of these robotic office workers there who use these corporate buzzwords like in threatening ways. Like there's one that says, "But we can always blue sky some ideas for pain," And as somebody who works for a large corporation who hears these corporate buzzwords every single day, seeing them used this way, like it was extra funny for me. But this is another really good issue. The artwork's really good. The action's really good. I like Ellie. She still doesn't call herself Deadpool. I think she called herself Cutie Pool. But I like her because you still get the same really cool action and like the regeneration and stuff that you get with Deadpool, but you don't get all just the random things that Deadpool says all the time. It's more like, oh, she just quips here and there, but it's not like as crazy far out there as Deadpool normally gives us. So it's been really, really fun. I like this a lot. This is a really cool issue. So we have our A cover right there, and there are a couple variants for this. This is our Mark Bagley variant. Really, I like the costume too. Like the costume looks really good. And we have our our Amanda Connor Doom variant. We got a couple more Doom variants coming up too. They look really good. Very fun. I've been really blown away with how much I like that Deadpool series because I've never really found a Deadpool series that I could latch onto. But that one's it. I love it. All right. So next up we've got X-Men number 5. And this one is all about Psylocke and Quentin Quire. They go into the mind of the mutant that they found a few issues ago, who made it look, I think it was issue number 2, right? Who made it look like there were aliens attacking San Francisco. And it looked like they faked that mutant's death at the end of that issue, but he's comatose, right? So the two of them go into his mind to try to figure out to try to wake him up. But one thing, but to also to figure out why did his X gene activate so late in life? And they do get an answer to that question. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's one of those, it's one of those stories that takes place in the mindscape, so everything looks really weird. You've got Ryan Stegman back on art on this, and he does some really cool images with just like some crazy far out there things to look at. So another really cool issue of X-Men right there. So there is our A cover, and we've got another Doom variant. This one looks really really cool. I love Doom. I'd love to see Doom go up against the X-Men. And this really nice J. Scott Campbell Phoenix variant. I believe this is the last of these covers. He's done a cover for every issue so far, and I believe this is the last one. And that one, I mean, what a way to go out, right? Is on that awesome Phoenix cover. All right, so I got a few more. I don't have many notes on some of these, but I do want to at least mention them. I definitely want to tell you about Ultimate Black Panther #9 because in this issue, I'm pretty sure it's okay to say that this is the first appearance of this universe's version of the Sorcerer Supreme. However, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that this is the first appearance of this universe's version of Doctor Strange or Stephen Strange because I don't know who that character is. Um, we that character is on the cover, I believe, for the next issue or maybe the one that comes out in December. And on that cover, the character has the cloak, the red, the cloak with the yellow, trimming and everything. So I believe that the character in this is this universe's Sorcerer Supreme, but I don't know I don't know if it's a brand new character to this universe. I don't know if it's a character from 616 who just looks different. I don't know, but it is the person. It is they are a magic based user that Killmonger and Storm were seeking out to try to learn about what the secrets of vibranium, basically. So just want to let you know about that. Still don't know who it is, but they're gonna be somebody. I'm pretty sure. Right? I hate to be vague, but I just don't know. But we have our A cover right there, and we have this nice Arita variant, and we have our 1 in 25. I don't have the. I can't tell who the artist on this is, but this is the 1 in 25 that we're selling for 14.99. All right. Next is I did not get a chance to read this one, but just wanted to let you know about the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider one shot that's coming out this week. This is, I believe it's I think it's maybe 3 or 4 just different short stories, one and done short stories featuring Robbie Reyes, the Ghost Rider. Andy did read this one, which is why I didn't, but of course he's not here. So just wanted to let you know that this is out this week. I did flip through it. It looks really fun. If you're a Robbie Reyes fan, you're definitely going to want to check this out. So there's our A cover right there. And we have our Marvel Voices. Oh shoot, I didn't get the artist for this one either. But they did the covers. They did some other covers like this a while back. So there's another variant as well. Sorry that I don't have the artist name on that one. One that I did read though is really cool. Plastic Man No More #2 out of I think this is a 4 issue series. I might be wrong, but yeah, a Black Label Plastic Man book, which is awesome. And in this one, Plastic Man, he's decaying. His body is melting essentially. So he actually gets help from the Metal Men to try to get well, just to try to I don't want to say too much, just to try to get help fixing his body because he's worried that not only is he melting, but that his this might end up happening to his son as well. So he's actually more concerned in fixing this problem so that his son doesn't have to deal with it. So he does get help from the Metal Men, but one of the Metal Men has been captured by somebody else, so he has to go rescue him first. And it's great. Like it's still really funny, but also you feel real bad for Plastic Man because he is going through something terrible, but he's still trying to keep a smile, right? And he's still cracking jokes, but you can tell there's pain behind that smile. There's pain behind those jokes. It's really really well done. Highly recommend it if you're a Plastic Man fan, or if you're not. It's still just a great book, and it's a Black Label, so it is #2. But you can find the first issue, and it's disconnected from anything else that's going on in DC. So a very cool Plastic Man story. So there's our A cover right there, and we have our oh, Riley Rossmo. Yeah, I should have recognized that. Riley Rossmo variant. That is kind of sort of what's happening in Plastic Man in this book. This is really good. I love this book a lot. And then we've got another great book for spooky season. We've got DC's I Know What You Did Last Crisis. So they've done one of these for the last 2 or 3 years now. And this is an anthology book just filled with several different fun stories, kind of creepy stories. Nothing that's too, yeah, it's more on the family friendly, creepy side. Andy read this one too, so I didn't read this, so I don't know what stories are in here. But each story in here is centered around a different event in DC's history. So, Crisis, 0 Hour, Final Crisis, that kind of stuff. Everything is centered around one of those. So it's really cool. It's a nice big square bound book too. So you get a lot of story, a lot of different stories in here, just a lot of fun, spooky stories just in time for spooky season. So want to let you know that that is out this week. That's our A cover, and then we've got this really nice. Let's see who did this one. Edgecur variant, another Barbara Gordon Batgirl cover. We had another one of those earlier, and this is our Nicholas. I'm sorry, yeah, Nicholas Scott Nightwing variant. Very cool. And last up, just wanted to let you know that Venom War #3 is out this week. I just finished reading it before this video, so I don't have any notes on it, but things are getting crazy. Um, Eddie and Dylan Brock fighting each other. The ending, the last page is really cool too. I'll say that, but I won't say anything more. Like I said, I don't have any notes because I just finished reading it. But just want to let you know that if you are collecting the Venom War, this 5-issue series, #3 is out this week. The artwork is fantastic. There's a lot of action, a lot of really cool Spider-Man action in this. Really neat. So #3 is right there. That's our A cover, and we have this really awesome. I wish this is what the Venom War was. This Scotty Young cover, but the Venom War is actually just a thumb war between Eddie and Dylan Brock. So very, very cool cover. It's really good action-packed issue. And then to go along with that is Venom War Spider-Man #3. I did not get a chance to read this one, but I did flip through it, and this costume or variation of it is in there, and it looks really cool. I don't, like I said, I didn't get a chance to read it, so I don't know why it is that way, but it looks awesome. So just want to let you know that issue #3 of this Venom War Spider-Man tie-in is out this week as well. And that is everything. Well, that's not everything coming out this week, but that's everything that we have to show you for today. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me ramble on for 45 minutes. But yeah, some very, very awesome books. I am so excited for DC All In. They are giving us some great books coming up. I've read a few others. Plus, we've got the Absolute books coming soon. I've read Absolute Batman. I've read Absolute Wonder Woman that come out. Absolute Batman is next week. It's phenomenal. Absolute Wonder Woman is on the 23rd. I've read both. They are fantastic. So DC is giving us some great books right now. Plus, we've got some great spooky books for spooky season 2. So it is a great time to be a comic fan. And if you want to order any of these books, you can visit infinityflux.net. Like I said, all of these books are there right now on the website. You can order till your heart's content over at infinityflux.net. Be sure to stick around. On Wednesday, we're going to be doing our top 10 comics to pre-order in a flash, where we tell you 10 of the best books that you can pre-order by the weekend. And it's also the next episode of our live show, the Infinity Flux letters page. We're going to have a lot to talk about because that is going to be the release date of some of these new DC All-In books. So we're definitely going to be talking about that, answering your questions, your comments. So if you have anything, any questions or comments for us, any topics you want us to talk about, just leave a comment in this video or any of our other videos. We will compile them, and then we will talk to them. We'll talk about them on Wednesday. We do it live. We'll talk back and forth with you as you're watching, and it's a lot of fun. So that is coming up on Wednesday. Guys, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and until next time, see you.